The November 3rd meeting of the MTPO Executive Board in session. Madam, would you call the roll, please?
Chairman Paul Montgomery,
Here.
Jimmy Adkins,
Here.
Blake Ayler,
Here.
Chase Milner,
Here.
Rhonda Sawyer,
Here.
Amber Torbett,
Here.
and we are missing Mount Carmel, Hawkins County, Churchill representative. There is a new mayor in Hawkins County that I've had contact with, but he had another meeting today. So hopefully we can get them to start having participation, or at least maybe agree on a proxy to
Okay.
represent them.
Very good. Okay. So we have a quorum here present. First item is the general information attendance. No, we've already
Yeah,
done
we
that.
did roll call, but
Okay, next item is the public comment.
do you want me to do the general information?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so this is an in-person meeting with remote access through the Zoom webinar. We do have Eric Tang, a consultant for VHB that did our local road safety plan, on the call. And Brian Hurst with TDOT Nashville. When we get to the project rankings, we'll hear from him. There's not any other attendees, but Eric and Brian have been promoted to panelists, so they can either chat or Michael can allow them to talk. I guess they can talk because they're panelists. But since there's not any other remote attendees, I won't worry about the rest of the announcement, but we will do the votes through roll call.
Okay. At this point of our meeting, we have a public comment section. And it's for anything that's pertaining to our agenda item that we have, and we allow 5 minutes for that. So does anyone want to address any of the items on our agenda today from the crowd? Seeing none, we'll move to approval of the minutes. Have a motion for approval?
I do have an addition. We left the DRPT update off of the one that was sent out. So I added that in to the version that's online and that is in our project folders, but it was just the page that she gives us.
So it's not on the ones we have in
No,
here.
but that was the only change. I just added the DRPT information
Okay.
because she sent us a separate sheet with her updates, and we usually just go ahead and
So
include
what
it.
item number is that?
It's just the minutes.
Oh, in
It's just
minutes.
approval of the minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Just very much for approval.
She gave it to us right after.
Okay.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Minutes been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Chairman Paul Montgomery,
Aye.
Jimmy Adkins,
Aye.
Blake Ayler,
Aye.
Chase Milner, Rhonda Sawyer, Amber Torbett.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Next item is Transportation Improvement Program. Leslie Phillips, please.
So our Transportation Improvement Program, you'll remember it's a 4-year document. The current TIP is fiscal year 20 through 23. The update, it's updated every 3 years. So this new one is fiscal year 23 through 26. There's always that year overlap. Virginia's on a different schedule. So the Virginia projects from the fiscal year 20 through 23 TIP are carried forward into the new TIP. And then when Virginia's new projects are ready, we add them by amendment to the new TIP. All the local highway projects that were in the TIP are rolled over from the current TIP. There's no new local projects at this time. The transit projects and TDOT highway projects were received from those entities. The draft TIP completed state and federal review and was available for public review and comment from October 24th through November 2nd. No comments were received. At a later date, we'll bring a memorandum of agreement detailing the TIP amendment and modification process for approval. That's in the development process right now. And it'll be presented for board consideration. So today's vote is approving the fiscal year 23 through 26 TIP document. We have a resolution, and then also as part of this, we have to certify that we are following all of the required planning processes. So we will sign that locally, TDOT will sign it, and VDOT will sign it as part of our adoption process for the TIP.
Is that it?
Any
Are there any
questions?
questions of Leslie? If not, may I have a motion for approval of Transportation Improvement Program. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that the transportation 20 fiscal year 23-26 Transportation Improvement Program is on the floor. Roll call, please.
Chairman Paul Montgomery,
Aye.
Jimmy Adkins, Blake Ayler, Chase Milner, Rhonda Sawyer, Amber Torbett,
Fiscal year 23-26 Transportation Improvement Program improved. Next item is the annual list of priority projects. Leslie, please.
So each year TDOT asks the MPOs to rank state projects in our MPO area. Things are a little different this year. They have a new project ranking hub with a map and the project details on the website. Brian will talk about all this in a few minutes. If a project is committed, it's in the current 3-year plan. Proposed projects are not in the current 3-year plan, and we are only ranking the proposed projects. The suggested rankings were included in your packet. And the executive board is free to change those rankings as they see fit. In the past, we've submitted other new start projects for consideration, but this year TDOT asked us to do those separately from this ranking process. So be thinking about potential projects in our area. I know the I-81, I-26 interchange is a big one that comes up every time, but we will visit that at a future meeting to talk about potential projects for new start that we want to submit to TDOT for consideration. So the I-26 or State Route 126 Memorial Boulevard Phase 1 has been split into 2 sections for construction. The first section is committed. The second section of that project was left as the number 1 project this time. And if you want to leave it as number 1, that's fine, or we can change the other project that's ready for construction is the ITS expansion along I-81. So the estimated cost for the State Route 126 section is 25 million. The estimated cost for the I-81 ITS project is 8.7 million. Those 2 projects only have construction phase remaining. The other 3 projects have right-of-way and construction remaining. But actually found out this morning, we do not need to rank this Rock Springs Road, State Route 347, because it is being considered a committed project. So if you all are okay with these rankings, it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that would move phase 2 of State Route 126, which would be from like East Lawn Cemetery to I-81 to number 3, and then State Route 36 from State Route 75 to I-81 would move to number 4. So we actually only have 4 projects to rank. And a link to the project hub and the suggested rankings was sent to our technical coordinating committee members and executive board members on October 18th for review. No comments or questions were received.
Okay,
So are you good with these rankings?
questions?
That's a weird question for me, and just curiosity more than anything. Knowing that 1 dropped off, was there any thought process to put 1 back on? If there's 5, or is everybody more comfortable?
Well,
They
these are
asked us
projects.
not to do that this
Yeah.
year, to do that as a separate list.
Yeah. And let me stop sharing. See if Brian wants to take over because he'll have more.
So there isn't anything else that can take that.
No, TDOT sends us the information on the projects to
All the
rank.
projects that are somewhere in the process already is this list, and then
That makes great.
Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Sure.
Can y'all see the screen I'm sharing, which is the Kingsport Project Hub?
Yes.
All right, so, and I'm more than willing to take any kind of questions y'all have on anything, but I do want to share some, I think, and we've talked to some other MPOs so far. I'm echoing now. Some exciting news. So I've had this opportunity for the last few years. Again, my name's Brian Hurst. I work in the project development division inside TDOT in Nashville. But over the last several years, I had the opportunity to get out and travel the state. And when my schedule allows, which I do apologize, I wasn't there in person today, and I haven't been in person there for a while. Just some mix-up things, but I am, here to to talk to y'all about some of this stuff. We've heard a lot about how long it takes TDOT to deliver projects. Pulled a lot of data inside our division. We house a lot of project data. So I provided the new commissioner, our new chief engineer, some information that says somewhere around 12 to 15 years to start a project in the PE phase and to finally let it to construction. Y'all also in y'all's area have a lot of major long corridor projects, and those projects even take longer. We split them out into multiple phases. So finally to see one phase of it to the last phase of it, it sort of takes really long time. So what I'm here to sort of explain to y'all and to let y'all know is we've heard that concern and we have now made changes. Here's the changes we're looking at. And again, it's going to bring up some questions. I can answer them if I can. Projects that showed up in this past approved highway program, which was the fiscal year 23 program, that are the projects that these new changes are taking place in. And we're doing this. I'm getting a lot of echo. I'm sorry, guys. Y'all hearing it too.
No, we're not hearing it.
Okay, good. I'll keep going then. If a project was listed in any 3 years, 23, 24, or 25 in the approved highway program, the department is committed to finishing those through the construction lending process. And in my last meeting, Dexter made a great point, is the word committed has many different meanings. We're committed to doing all the projects y'all have, and I'll scroll down a little bit because y'all actually have 7 of them. We're committed to doing all of them, every project in Improve Act, all 962 projects. So that's not to be questioned. Unless, I will throw out that caveat, if y'all feel like some of these projects that we brought up in 2017 to be added to the Improve Act, if you're like, hey, we don't need these projects anymore, we also need to know that too, but we're committed to them. But we're going to use a different term of commitment. Is right now, if you see at the bottom, whoops, I have 2 projects listed here. And as this morning, Rock Springs Road is also part of it too. So we have 3 projects listed as committed on this list. Y'all no longer have to prioritize rank any longer, because whatever phase it is listed here, we're going to finish it through construction. So I'll use one of these example. Let's use the 3rd one down here, Memorial Boulevard. It says right away in construction. So it's proposed. If it was committed, then you would no longer have to rank it for right away or construction. We would just say, hey, we're going to finish it. So what we're proposing is, and what we're going to do is, no matter what phase of development a project is, within 5 years, we're going to finish it to let it construction. So if we rank one for PE, 5 years later, you'll see it in construction. If we rank it for right away, 2 to 3 years, you'll see it in construction. And if it's in construction, whatever year it's listed in the highway program, it's committed for construction. So for example, the top one I got there, the 112834.03, it's the south of Horse Creek. That's currently setting in a highway program for fiscal year 24. We are committed to delivering that to construction in fiscal year 24. The one right below it, it was listed in fiscal year 25. We're committed to delivering that to construction in fiscal year 25. That's a big difference. Typically, when our highway program rolled out, that first year, the first year listed in the highway program, that was our commitment list, and everything else was sort of illustrative. It was, we hope to do these, but as y'all seen them, you knew year 2 didn't automatically roll into year 1. Well, that's one of the changes we're doing here. Is we're currently in year 1 of the 23 program. So year 2 and 3 in this next program should ideally roll straight up in here and create our program. Now, yes, we will always have a project that comes out of nowhere that has to be rushed up, just like in West Tennessee, we got Blue Oval. So we are aware of those kind of anomalies, but this is a big change. I'm hoping, that y'all's board is excited that you maybe get to see some projects actually going to be delivered when we say they're going to be delivered. And let me look here. So on a high level, let me give you some of the things we deal with. Again, y'all may be aware of it, but I heard y'all have a new board member. So you have 7 projects listed here at $241 million. Right now, we're saying we're committed to 3 of them at $78 million. That's a lot of money. And here's why I say it's a lot of money. Annually, the department gets about $1 billion of our large federal pots of money. Right off the top, about 500 million of that we take right off the top, and we call that going to recurring costs. That means bridge repair, bridge maintenance, resurfacing, all the things that every single year annually we do. So that's half our budget right there. That leaves us about $500 million to go across the 4 regions. Theoretically, region 1 would get, a quarter of that, but they don't. We separate our money per regions where we feel like the population is and where our lane miles. So in region 1, we are fortunate that y'all are always in the top 1 or 2 to our splits. Then, so let's just say you're getting right over $100 million for y'all's region. You have multiple MPOs, you have multiple RPOs. So just think about how the department tries to spread that money over all the organizations. So just looking at yours compared to the one we finished earlier and the one I did last week, is we have more committed projects in this MPO right now than we do most other MPOs, which is a good thing. I know I may be missing some things. I know y'all may have some questions, but at this time, I'll go ahead and stop talking and let y'all throw out some questions, or maybe even let Dexter chime in if he's there to pick up some things I may have overlooked.
He is here. What changed with the Rock Springs Road project?
So Dexter called me earlier today, and this fell on me. So I should never had this project listed in here. Is we have a commitment letter from the department that says that the department will pay 20% of the federal match. That 20% part of that letter is a given. So whenever the project does come to the time to be delivered to construction, the department is ready to deliver that 20% match.
So I'm confused. The 20% match, like the MPO is putting in $1 million max for that project, whereas the state's putting in that 20% federal match. But what about the remaining funds? That would be state and federal.
Dexter, you have anything to share on that one? I have limited information.
Hand him the microphone, please. Turn it on, please.
No, I don't have anything to add. I know that y'all had some money in it, and I guess you're saying $1 million. We probably need to go back and revisit that.
Mhm.
Sure.
So should we leave it on there for right now?
It probably doesn't hurt, but well, I mean, we can take it out later, right, Brian?
Yeah, I think it'd be, if we have some unknowns, it'd probably be safe to leave it in there. And if we feel like that we have all the information we got, we can always remove it, and whatever was ranked below it would just move up one spot.
Yeah, because we do have that letter. It was originally going to be 2 million MPO money, and then a few years ago, it was changed to $1 million and took out the multimodal path for it to be pursued locally.
Mhm.
So it went down to $1 million MPO money commitment with the state paying the 20% match. So I think 280 of that's been obligated back in fiscal year 16. 320,000 I think is programmed in the current TIP. But I knew it wasn't in the 3-year plan, so I was like, wasn't sure what changed.
Okay, fair enough.
Other questions?
And another question, Brian, Bristol may have asked you this already, but Bristol MPO is in the room. So the I-81 ITS project is in our TIP, but it is in Kingsport MPO and Bristol MPO area. It's in our TIP and they reference it in their TIP. Do they need to rank that? Because I know it's on their list.
So that's a great question. What we've tried to capture this year is on projects that cross the boundary. If it crosses into another MPO or it crosses into another RPO, we would like to see it ranked by both. And so what we're going to do when we get back all the rankings, we'll do a joint ranking and see what it actually comes up with. So it's to us, and we've sort of spread this information, is it's very important. I'm glad they're at y'all's meeting. It's very important for each MPO and for RPOs to be talking to each other when they know a project exists like this, because it actually may barely touch you, but touch another RPO or MPO a lot more, and it means so much more to them. They need to be starting that communication with y'all to asking y'all to rank it appropriately.
Yeah, and our RPO coordinator is on our board, so.
Good.
Michael?
Brian, this is Mike Thompson. The one that's the very bottom on your list there, I'll call it phase 1B of Memorial Boulevard. You're almost done buying right away for that phase. So I was curious as to why it wouldn't be committed.
So the way we budget projects is we actually budget them by phase. And historically, if you remember, what we would do is we would have Dexter come to y'all and tell you where it is in the development process, and sort of we wouldn't massage y'all's thoughts, but we'd say, hey, there's no need to rank this one number 1 for construction if we're just starting right away. Well, doing it a little bit different now is no matter where it's at in the project development process, we want to know your honest opinion where it's ranked. So that particular project, the 0.04 down there of Memorial Boulevard, it's in a right-of-way phase, and we still have to budget for construction because it was budget for right-of-way in another highway program, not in the current highway program. And it's a little confusing because we had this question is we had to pick and choose where we was going to start. So we picked the 23 program. We could have picked 22. We could have picked 21. We could have chased this back forever, but our leadership said, we're going to start right now with the current highway program, which was the fiscal year 23 highway program.
Is another way to say that is we don't expect construction in the next 3 years is why it's not committed. Y'all are still committed to the project, but it's not in that committed phase on this because you've not. funded
It has
in
not
the-
shown up in a
in the
3-year plan yet.
Okay.
Correct.
That's right.
Other
Yeah,
questions?
When we split the project into 2 projects, the first phase did show up in a 3-year plan. The second phase did not. So it has to make it into a 3-year plan.
Other questions? Are you ready to vote on the,
Brian, are you done sharing? If you can stop sharing so I can put the rankings back up.
I'm so sorry about that.
Let's see. So
See,
this is how I have them ranked. And like I said, y'all are welcome to change this. The 2 that are remaining phases is construction or the top 2. I just kept them as we had them the past few years. But like I said, that first one is 25 million. The second one's 8.7 million. And then the other 3 are right
would
of
you
way
just read,
construction.
would you just read what the projects are? Just
Yeah.
in order, that way they make it easier.
So the
I can
first
see
one,
it, yeah.
State Route 126, which is Memorial Boulevard. Phase 1 of this project goes from East Center Street to east of Cooks Valley Road, which is just past East Lawn Cemetery. But because it's such a large project, it's been split into 2 sections. So this is the second section from east of Briarwood Road to east of Cooks Valley Road. The first section is committed. We don't have to rank the section from East Center Street to Briarwood. The second one is the I-81 ITS expansion, and that goes from exit 57 on the I-26 exit 57 interchange and the Virginia, actually it goes further than the Virginia state line. I need to update this. It goes to like exit 3 in Virginia. That's just ITS. That's, maybe message boards, cameras, stuff like that. That's why it's such a big difference in price. Third one, I've got the Rock Springs Road, which we'll leave on there for right now. That's from Cox Hollow to Interstate 26. Number 4 is State Route 126 from east of Cooks Valley Road. So where phase 1 stops near East Lawn Cemetery all the way to I-81. And then number 5 is State Route 36 from State Route 75 to Interstate 81.
Okay, you have a list of prioritization for the annual list. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve that. Project ratings as presented by us.
Motion by Chase. Is there a second motion?
I'll second.
Second by Amber. Okay. Roll call, please.
Chairman Paul Montgomery,
Aye.
Jimmy Adkins,
Aye.
Blake Ayler,
Aye.
Chase Milner,
Aye.
Rhonda Sawyer,
No.
Amber Torbett.
Aye.
The annual list of priority list is approved. Next item is local road safety plan. Leslie, please.
Yes. And Eric Tang is on if there's any questions. So many of you all have been involved in the stakeholder workshops that we had for the local road safety plan, and you've been updated throughout the process of completing the plan. It was presented at our August MTPO executive board meeting. Since then, additional edits were made based on comments received, and it went through another level of federal highway review. Adoption at the local level is the last step to finalize the plan. And the reason for having this plan, one of the new grant programs is the Safe Streets and Roads for All. And you have to, there's 2 sections to that grant program, either to make an action plan, which is what this is. And if you already have an action plan, then you can apply for implementation funds, which is to implement your action plan. So adoption requirements require official public commitment, which can be a resolution, it can be a governing body. So it could be the BMA, but since this is an MPO level plan, we've decided to bring it to the MPO board for adoption. And it has to have an eventual goal of 0 roadway fatalities and serious injuries. And this commitment must include a goal and a timeline for eliminating these roadway fatalities and serious injuries. So because the national Toward Zero Deaths goal is 2050, That's what I've used in this resolution, is saying that the board agrees to work towards that goal of 0 deaths by the year 2050. Now, we will be updating this plan every 4 or 5 years, so that can change. But right now, that is the national goal, and that's why I thought I would mirror it. But you're welcome to change that goal, set a different goal, but it does have to be defined in order to actually adopt this plan and be eligible for those funds. Eric, do you have anything to add?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to stop in here. Just to add to Leslie's remarks there, during the stakeholder process, we did consult with the larger group about what their vision is of the plan. And in the document, if you recall, we do have a vision statement about eliminating all deaths and life-changing injuries on the Kingsport metropolitan roadways. And then there's a goal of reducing all crashes annually on the region's roadways. So at the time, that's what the stakeholders were interested in, was having some sort of annual reduction. But the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program came out in late spring after the stakeholder meeting had already occurred. And so the plan itself doesn't have a specific year target or even an interim target, if you will. So that's this is where Leslie has come in to provide you with a resolution for your consideration to have some sort of year target, if you will, to adhere to the requirements if this region wants to make sure it qualifies for the federal grant funds.
Other questions, comments?
If I may add, like Leslie said, right? There are different varying approaches I've seen across the country. There are places that have explicitly said 0, for a particular year. Then there are those jurisdictions who say, like, let's say reduce by half by some interim year. So there are different ways of acknowledging. You could have some sort of explicit 0 goal, or you have some sort of a substantial reduction goal by a certain year. So those are just different ways of achieving the requirement that's out there for qualifying for these funds.
Okay. Seeing no questions, I call for the motion. Thank you, Rhonda. Is there a second? Second by Jimmy. Roll call, please.
Chairman Paul Montgomery,
Aye.
Jimmy Adkins,
Aye.
Blake Ayler,
Aye.
Chase Milner,
Aye.
Rhonda Sawyer, Amber Torbett.
Aye.
Okay, local road safety plans approved. Next item is item 7 is the annual federal funds obligation reports. Leslie?
So annually, we're required to publish a list of all federal funds, that's Federal Highway Administration and Federal Transit Administration, that have been obligated within our MTO area during the previous fiscal year. The list must be made available within 90 days of the end of the federal fiscal year, which is September 30th. So by the end of December, I have to have this posted. The draft list was included in the agenda packet. Since then, the Virginia obligations have been confirmed, so it's no longer draft version. There was no change, so it is exactly as it was in the packet. I have received, there's the TDOT Federal Highway funds, and then I have received the net trans obligations. I have not received CATs yet. So as soon as I receive that information, I will update this, and I have to have it posted to our website by the end of December, and there will be a hard copy in our office. So there's no vote required on this. It's just for informational purposes, but all the Virginia, they do theirs a little different. So a lot of these are 0 because we don't get funds for a lot of different categories that they have. But that is exactly as it was in your packet, just the draft is removed because it's not the draft version anymore.
Are these resurfacing? What are these?
On TDOT, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, this is all of our, it can be state projects, it can be local projects, it's any federal funds that were obligated during the fiscal year in our area. So if you have specific questions, you just shoot me an email and I can.
That's fine. Yeah, that doesn't have like a description.
Yeah, so like that State Route 93 from near State Route 1 to Virginia State Line, I'm pretty sure that was. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a mix of everything, any federal funds that were spent in our area.
You're looking at a particular project.
No, I just, there's, it's very detailed. It just doesn't have a description. So that
Mhm.
would then mean we would have to bug you if we,
I don't know. I have no problem with that. I mean, any questions, just send them. And if I don't know, I'll get with Jason or somebody.
And on their SCBG projects, it's intentionally not listed because like 1 year, there may be 3 roads involved in this one. The same funding code was used for another project coming in on the next one.
Any other questions of Leslie or Michael? Seeing none, I'm assuming we're okay with this then, right? Okay, let's move to item number 8. Meeting dates.
Okay, so in the past, you all have wanted to copy Bristol's meeting schedule, just have the meetings on the same day. If you all still want to do that, we can do that. And we have changed the date a little bit. I've talked to Bristol and they have changed their board meeting until December. They're waiting, finalizing their tip for adoption. So we have discussed these internally, these dates, it'd be February 9th, May 11th, August 10th, and November 9th. They will take that to their board and make sure their board's okay with that. But as long as you all are okay with that, that's what we'll look at. And another thing is, did you want to keep 1:30 or did you want to do 2 o'clock? Because I know sometimes if their meeting runs a little longer, it may push you to get here, but
What time is our meeting?
10,
10. How long is the meeting?
it varies.
Be 10 minutes, and then back quick, or it can be an hour. It just depends if TDOT does a presentation.
What about you Virginia folks?
It really affects VDOT more, but the 10 and 1:30 seems to consistently worked out.
Okay.
Especially when you have business.
Okay.
I
Okay,
just thought if they went short, then it don't give you too much time to kill between meetings. And then also if people come in from Nashville or Richmond, they can get back on the road quicker.
Okay.
But
If you give us too much time in between, we'll go back to the office, and that's not a good idea.
so we just keep it the same then.
I'll get set.
We'll just keep it the same. So,
we'll,
okay,
and then Bristol, like I said, they're here. They'll present these at your all's board meeting in December.
But thanks for asking.
And I did check, there's no election dates to avoid next year.
Yeah.
Usually, county's off election day and she usually has meetings to go to, so.
Okay,
okay, next item is the federal and state partner updates and project updates.
Let's see, I don't think,
We have any?
we have Stacy Morrison on from TDOT now. Let's see, we don't have anybody from federal on. Michael, will you promote Stacy, and if Stacy has any updates? VDOT, do you have any updates?
The only thing I'll say, not on this list, Leslie, the only thing I'll say on the 81 ITS expansion is TDOT worked with Virginia. We broke out our operations in Virginia. We've made a change. That was a regional operation that ran the interstate for us, and that ran out of Roanoke region. And it now came back to the district. So everything that involves our interstate is 100% ran from our district. So command center, everything included. So now Brian Holt, from our district traffic engineer to the assistant district administrator over operations. So a little bit of a change that creating a new position. So he'll oversee the help that there is with that project on the Virginia side. It could be a little different from the crew they were previously working with. But outside of that, Leslie, in smart scale, we're going through validation right now and getting into scoring. Started scoring just a couple of weeks ago on the congestion fees. We're getting ready to start safety. We actually had a kickoff call at 10 o'clock this morning. So all of our applicants, I know the MTPO is doing, Jimmy's helping on a couple applications as well. We'll continue reaching out to every applicant to make changes on the applications. There's still a number of things that need to be fixed, either with estimates, schedule, etc. So do watch out for that as we get into the home stretch. Hopefully, before Christmas, we should have our first round of scores out, and we should know at that point how much money we're going to receive. So, exciting time for that. So be looking out for that. Yes.
And I will say the Deputy Division Administrator for Federal Highway Tennessee came from Federal Highway Virginia. He was on the project side, engineering. So I met him last week. So T-Dot, anybody, Dexter, Troy, Jason? Before we get to specific projects, Jason? Before we get to specific projects, Stacy? You're muted if you're trying to talk.
I can talk one real quick, since he's being shy.
Okay.
Two things that we were looking at for updates. One, the traffic signal modernization program. We have money out for that again, so please apply for that. I know we don't have a ton of money for that, but the more applications we get for those, the more chances for additional funds to be applied to that. The first time we put on that, it was $250,000 across the state. And we're up to well over $1 million for that every year now. So that continues to go up. And I've sent that, Mike, I've sent that down to your traffic division as well. So they're very aware of that. The other part is your all planning grant is underway. We are currently working with CDM Smith. Is that correct? That's mine. I'm sorry. Sorry. The other ladies, they work on some of these too. This one, I'm actually going to manage it for y'all. Sorry. We're studying State Route 93 where it intersects with State Route 1. So John B. and Stone Drive. Got to look at that intersection from there north to Bloomingdale Road. So along up by the racetrack, some of that area, looking at some access managements and different things. So it's going to be a really good plan. We have 8 altogether in Region 1. We have at least 3 in Sullivan County because Amber's got one. Bristol has one. We're looking at State Street, and then we're also looking at, and we're working with Virginia on State Street one. And then, of course, we're working on the one here in Kingsport. So we're really excited about those. And those should be done hopefully by next summer because we're all on the long scale. Don't have any more information about those coming out, any new ones, but as those come out, we'll make sure everybody knows.
Stacy, you unmuted yourself. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I got too many buttons here. So it's great to be there last month, or whenever that was, it all runs together in person, and then today online. Y'all's format really works well, and I can hear and see everything very good. So really good job on that, Leslie.
Michael.
Just wanted to say that, and Troy covered most everything. That one email he mentioned on the TSMP, that email is from Steve Bryan. So again, we're just wanting to make sure that you all got that information from Steve, but we just want to make sure it gets in the right hands. Sometimes that's not always the case. So please do so. And good luck with trying to get it in a part of that project as well. So that was it. I'll mention something. I probably shouldn't say anything, but for Sean from Federal Highway, but I think they are in the process of adding a couple of new planners. So probably by the first of next year, Sean will have his two planners in that position. So we'll all look forward to working with a couple of new people in that area too. So
Thank you.
thank you, Leslie.
And project updates, I will say with the Brickyard Bicycle and Pedestrian Bridge, we did receive an additional 775,000 TAP grant for that. We received 1.85 million previous year and then an additional 775,000 this year's awards. So that's good news on that one. And I'll let Michael talk about Main Street because finally getting there.
Just stay on Brickyard for a second. We're working our way through NEPA. We ran into a snag on the historical side because the concrete loading dock is considered to be contributing to the historical significance of the freight depot that's adjacent, that's historically eligible. So we were working through mitigation. We've proposed mitigation efforts on that and waiting to hear from SHPO. And so we're still in NEPA on that one. Main Street, I'm happy to say we had our pre-construction conference Monday and issued the notice of work order. So that's about a 2-year project in the end of 2024. So Portland Utilities is out there today doing potholes and getting started on that. So that's exciting. When we're in that area, I was looking to see if anybody was here from CATS. But
Candace is.
oh, I'm sorry, you was behind the column. I won't steal your thunder. I'll let you do that when you get there. But really, we continue. We've moved through on the first resurfacing grouping that we're working on. We've gotten through NEPA and are moving along. We're moving along well, but we've got to go back and redo that because there was a change to the limits. TDOT changed the way they view state parks back to the way it used to be years ago. So y'all paved one of the portions of roads that we had in our grouping to do. So we got to change the limits, and shouldn't be a big deal, but we got to go back through that. So that'll definitely push that till next year. Otherwise, if there's any particular questions anybody has on any specific projects, I'm happy to answer those.
Jason, you want to come up to the table and get a microphone? Or Dexter or whoever.
Here you go, come in here.
He can answer probably the first couple. I can.
Sure. So start down the list there. I guess the first one we would have would be Fort Robinson Bridge over Dry Creek. That project is currently finishing up right-of-way plans. We plan to submit those in December of 22. We anticipate probably a year's worth of buying right-of-way and utility coordination and probably go to construction late 24. I mean, in FY 24, early 24, late 23. Let's see, moving down the list, we go to State Route 126, I guess phase 1 and phase 2. I'm not sure if you mean phase 1 and 2 of the first project or phase.
I was
We've not
talking about the
updated to
original,
have A and B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole phase 1 and the whole
Okay.
phase 2.
Yeah, all right. So phase 1, of course, we broke into two projects. The first phase is the first piece of phase 1 is due to go to construction in FY 25 according to our 3-year plan. We're committed to that project. The second piece of phase 1 is at the same spot as far as development goes today. We are at the end finishing up right away acquisition and starting of construction plans. We will pick that piece up for construction plans once it shows up in a 3-year plan for construction. So phase 2 of 126 from the cemetery out to I-81, we are in the process of developing preliminary field review plans. We will plan to get that finished up through that point, and then the project will be on hold till it shows up in a 3-year plan, and we will start public design meetings and carrying the project forward from that location once it shows up in a 3-year plan. State Route 36, Fort Henry Drive from State Route 75 to I-81. I guess that's Washington Sullivan County project is kind of in the same boat. We're proposing to finish up preliminary field review plans in the near future, and then the project will sit there until it shows up in a 3-year plan to carry forward. State Route 347 Rock Springs Road, we got some work to do there, figure out exactly how that project's going to move forward, whether or not it's a committed project or not. But we have preliminary field review plans pretty close to being finished, and we'll be ready to go to a public design meeting next. State Route 93 improvements. Do you want to give an update on?
I'm here. I moved on you.
So the State Route 93, the Washington Sullivan County section on the bluff, contractors actually putting base stone and some paving down with the hopes of moving traffic off the 1-lane condition sometime mid to late November. We're still waiting on a contractor to come in and do some stabilization on the slope in a certain area. We were able to lay the slopes back and not have to pin in the material geotechnically wise speaking. So we're going able to move faster on that. Contractor is kind of since it's bundled with the 91 job in Carter County, they're kind of, I won't say dragging their feet, but they're using some time that they've got built in for that. But hopefully by the end of November, we'll have traffic swapped onto the new roadbed. Sullivan County section, I think Dexter, you talked about
Yeah.
that earlier. It's setting in like late 20 or early 24.
It'd be in the FY 24, so it could be earliest possible letting will be December of 23, but it'll be delivered to construction in FY 24.
And then the ITS expansion's being done by, of course, headquarters, our ITS group. And it's same, pretty
Yeah,
much 24, 25 timeframe, I think you said.
Oh, no, it's not shown up in a 3-year
Okay.
plan yet, but it could go to construction pretty quick, but it needs to be identified in a 3-year plan for construction to get those construction dollars.
So you also, on that sheet that you showed earlier, we did finish the 91, 93 paving from Stone Drive to the Virginia line. Also on 93, we've got the bridge repair over Shipley Street. Contractor is in phase 1 right now. We're about 60% behind because of they just didn't show up early on the contract, so we probably will be past the due date on it, but there's nothing right now for time extension for them. And the contract for the 93 bridge over the Holston River there at Eastman was let. We've not had a pre-con on it because it does have a we call it a 108B time deal, is that they cannot start on 93 until the other project's completed at Shipley Street, just because of close proximity and the traffic control that'll be involved in there. So for Hawkins County, we did finish 346 paving this year. It was bundled with some other stuff. I think that's outside of your all's MPO.
Do you have any update on the paving of State Route 36 in Colonial Heights?
My understanding that your all's sidewalk portion is going to be bundled in with that, and they're in the design phase of that. I think that we're going to do 2 different segments there. One will be from basically Interstate 81 to the Hammond Bridge, and then the other one will go from the Hammond Bridge into town. I can't remember from Randy if the one from into town got switched and it's going first before the sidewalk portion because of the sidewalk. We also got railroad involved in that one that's got the sidewalk, so as quickly as we can get the railroad to sign off too.
We don't really have a time frame on that bridge.
I do not.
Yeah, it's pretty far
I
out.
know they've done some preliminary surveying out there, but as far as deadline, timeline when it be let to construction though. And speaking of that, we did finish the Warriors Path paving this year that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Anything else? Candace, get your microphone.
Hello. So our big news for cats is the transit garage going up. If you haven't gotten by there to see it, it's pretty impressive. My word today was astonished because we just went vertical this week and it's amazing how fast that is going up. The hope about that is to get it under roof so that during the winter months they can work on the inside of it, but it's going quickly and it's going smoothly. So that's good. Lesser news, but still important, is we're doing a statewide review of a dispatching software, and that's going to be a really big deal for whoever lands that project. So we've been reviewing bid submittals for that. And then our van service, our dial-a-ride van service, every November we do offer the ticket books on that, 24 tickets in a book. $24 to be used as cash. A lot of people purchase these, and we always offer this in November half price. So those books are $12 and tickets don't expire, and they make great stocking stuffers. So if you know of anyone that uses that service, or you can tell them that about that savings. So we'd like to get the word out. And then just finally, we did go to the state rodeo and we did compete and send our first and second place winners. And we had a great time. That was in Franklin last month. So that's it.
John, do you have anything? And Chris Stippo with the airport is here. He's the operations supervisor. Is there any update from the airport?
No.
What's the time frame? I mean, how long do you think that'll take to complete the master plan?
So we have a county overlay zone for airport. We need to expand it, we would need to know.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Just keep the county in mind, because it's mostly for approach zone and takeoff zone to make sure we have clearance.
So that,
Anyway, I have one more thing. I apologize, guys. I'd like to introduce Samantha Farmer. She's our new planning specialist at VDOT. We're lucky to have her. She's only been here for about 3 months, so we're trying our best not to run her off, so she gets scared. So if you get a chance, introduce yourself to her and hopefully see a lot of her over the coming years.
We do have Micah and Tyler from Bristol MTO and Melanie from Bristol, Virginia side.
okay, Jimmy, have any final things for us? Any comments?
No, just on the MEOC behalf, just let us know about that dispatch software. Where you just went to Kansas, keep me updated on that dispatch software,
Okay.
if we want to make sure everything's done.
Chase, anything?
We still have our RPO fall meeting plan, TDOT District 17 headquarters training room, December 15th. Any and all to join us for that meeting. At 10 a.m.
Okay, Blake, anything else? Rhonda? Anything? Amber? Okay, at this point in time for our meeting, if any of you from the public have something you want to say based on anything that's related to the subject matter, this is your time. You have 5 minutes. Seeing no one moving toward that. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.